Project Boro is now available as a podcast on your chosen podcast providers, so you can listen to every episode on the go. Simply go to the description of this video, click the link to the podcast provider of your choice, and subscribe or follow Project Boro, and you'll be able to find all episodes past, present and future right there for you to listen to on the go. A 7-goal thriller, another brace for Latte Lath, and a really contentious, poor decision from the linesman. What a f***ing game of football this was.
He's in, and he's snuck it across to Hayden Hutney!
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and another episode of Project Boro, and today we're discussing a truly bonkers game of football at the Riverside last night. Undoubtedly, I think, game of the season, as Boro just lost out in an absolute barnstormer. It was Boro 3, Leeds 4 in a just unbelievable game. It took me so long to process this game last night. It was just an absolute game of the season contender. Fantastic football from both sides, some great goals, two sides just going absolute blow for blow. You know, two very attacking sides, giving each other their absolute best shots. And in my opinion, both sides equally deserve to come away with something from this game. It's just a little bit infuriating from a Boro point of view that we were let down, and one of the goals was blatantly offside, which is a decision I cannot comprehend how a professional linesman or official can make such a terrible decision. But Boro, I think, very unlucky to come out on the wrong end of this one. I thought we were absolutely brilliant for the most part. We have to obviously give respect to the opposition, who have such quality, so good going forward, some fantastic attacking players, and as we saw in the reverse fixture, 3-2 at Ellen Road, it was goals that day as well. It just seems whenever Boro and Leeds get together, it's an absolute cracker of a game, and that seems to be always the case. You know, it's a great game on the pitch. The fans always get really up for it. We can't stand them. They don't like us. The atmosphere, the banter, the chants. It was absolutely amazing last night. It was honestly a fantastic game on a night under the lights. It was amazing. It was my last game of the season at the Riverside, and it was a fantastic way to go out. Everything about it was amazing, apart from the result, which I think was very harsh on the boys. So yeah, let's just get straight into it, because this was crazy, absolutely crazy. But as it was in the reverse fixture at Ellen Road, the game started really quickly, and just like Ellen Road, it was Boro who got the first goal. And this has been a running theme of late. We had this against Hull, we had this against Ipswich, we've had three really tough games in a row, and I think we've deserved something from every single one of them, which is great from our point of view. And we've took the lead in every single one of them as well, and that's maybe an area for improvement. The fact that we took the lead at Ipswich, took the lead at Hull, took the lead here, just couldn't quite manage the game, couldn't quite keep the opposition out. But I think keeping this lead side out was always going to be a really tough task. It wasn't helped by some really bad individual errors from some of the Boro players, as well as some terrible officiating. So on another day, again, minus Boro doing damage to themselves really, and shooting themselves in the foot more than anything, and some really bad refereeing, we might have won this game. We should have at least gotten a point from it, and that's where I'm taking positives. But we took the lead through Isaiah Jones on 7 minutes. Good play down the left-hand side. Luke Thomas, to be fair to him, did really well to win the ball off Nonto. He'd had a bit of a shaky start to the game, but he did well here. Played the ball forward, it works its way through the middle. Azaz, I think, tried to get the ball through. I don't know if it come off him or not, but it comes through the middle. Latte Lath pounces on it. I don't know if he gets there in front of Meslier or not, but Rodon sort of slides, and it might have even been a penalty had the ball not fell to Isaiah Jones. But regardless, after the challenge and the melee, it comes out to Jones, who pounces first, and he slides the ball into an empty net with his left foot, and it's a perfect start for Boro. The Riverside absolutely blew off. If there was a roof, it would have been sent into orbit. It was a fantastic moment and a great start for us, but unfortunately, the game didn't stay Boro 1, Leeds 0 for very long. They got the equaliser 7 minutes later and it was from the spot. Crescencio Somerville with the penalty. I'm going to talk a bit about individuals, but I've got to say Crescencio Somerville was absolutely something else on that pitch last night. I think, when you're in the Championship, you look at certain footballers, when you watch them and you go, yeah, he's a Premier League player. He's a Premier League player playing in the Championship. And that's what I saw from Somerville. And although I didn't agree with him being awarded Championship Player of the Season, because I think Sammy Smodics should have won that, I can see why he's up there, because when he's on it, he is unplayable. And he got the penalty, but it wasn't from him that the penalty come about. It was kind of from a really bad decision from Anthony Dijksteel, who had a shocker of an evening. If there was one Boro player I think really sort of let the team down, it was Dijksteel. He looked so uncomfortable on the wing, defending against Somerville, defending against Nonto, sometimes against Rutter. He just didn't look comfortable. He didn't look like he was up to the pace. He wasn't up to speed. Again, I guess going the other way, when you look at a player and you think he's not at the level. I think him and Thomas at times as well really struggled against Leeds' wingers, and I think that's where they had their most joy. And it come down that side that the penalty came about. It was actually Rutter this time who picked the ball up on the left and drove into the box. And the annoying thing here is Dijksteel had so many opportunities to just take him down, take one for the team. Yeah, you'd have got booked. You probably don't want to get booked against Leeds and their tricky wingers so early into the game. I get that. But Rutter is always going to wait until he gets into the box, and he's going to wait for the contact, and the second he feels contact, he's going to go down. And I don't think Dijksteel helped himself. I think he sold himself a little bit, because he seemed to have a nibble when we got into the box. That's the annoying thing. He sort of tracked him outside the box. That's when he should have maybe took one for the team and tried to stick a foot in. But he waited until he was in the box. He then sort of tried to have a nibble, and he was always going to go down, and there's absolutely no question about it. It was a penalty. Really bad decision from Dijksteel, and I think it sort of sums up why I don't think will be here next season. I don't think he's good enough anymore for what we want to achieve or where we want to be. It's a real shame, because he's been a fantastic player for Boro over the years, especially in the Wilder era. He was great down that right-hand side with Crooks and Jones, but when we've had injuries, we've had Rav playing out there. Obviously, in an ideal world, if he wasn't a Leeds player on loan, Ayling would have been there last night. Tommy Smith's coming back. Yeah, I think this may be the final nail in the Boro career coffin for Dijksteel. He really struggled, and it was a bad decision, a really bad challenge from him, and it was the start of a really tough night where he simply got the runaround. Anyway, Somerville took the penalty away. Dieng went the right way in fairness, but it was right in the corner, and it was 1-1. And unfortunately, a little bit like at Ellen Road again, the game flipped completely in Leeds' favour only minutes later, and Boro found themselves behind after only 18 minutes. And again, this is another really infuriating goal for Boro to concede, because Leeds again played the ball really nicely, again down our right-hand side. It's a great cross. I've got to say it's a fantastic cross. I don't know if it's one of them awkward ones where it's awkwardly in between the defender and the keeper, but I still kind of think Dieng should just go for the ball here. Just don't half-arse it. Don't sort of half go, half don't. You either commit to staying or you commit to going. And he sort of didn't do either. And he sort of went to sort of collect the ball, but Bamford beat him to the punch. And he just had to get anything on it, really, to get the ball past Seny Dieng. Obviously, Clark was, I think, just playing Bamford onside. So I think the quality of the ball and the placement of the cross made it as difficult and as awkward as it probably could have been for Clark and Dieng. But I think one of them just had to, and I think Dieng was the one who had to just throw himself at it, get anything on it, even if it just puts the striker off and distracts him. But he didn't, and it was an easy sort of tap-in kind of finish for Bamford, and two really difficult and annoying goals for Boro to concede, a needless penalty and one where I think we should have done better with. But alas, we were 2-1 down, but this amazing game took another turn because Boro equalised 12 minutes later on half an hour. The fourth goal went in, and it was the man, once again, Emmanuel Latte Lath. Where has this come from? He is on absolute fire. He scored, I think, I don't know if I saw his stat, in 8 of his last 10 or something. I can't recall the exact numbers, but he has been involved and he's been scoring in every game pretty much over the last month. He should have got a goal against, I think, Swansea, but I think it was classed as an own goal. But again, he took his chance so well here. He really, really did. Azaz did so well on the left-hand side. It was a great shimmy and turn to get away from his man. Played the ball inside to Lath, and again, something we're seeing more and more from him. He's faced with 3 or 4 Leeds defenders here. I can't remember which game this was against. Was it Sheffield Wednesday, where he had a crowd of players in front of him? I can't recall. It might have been Swansea, where he has a crowd of players in front of him, and it was Swansea because he cut into his left foot. And on that day, he waited and he waited until the moment to strike. And he did exactly the same thing here. This time on his right foot, he waits until there's a gap. He unleashes a shot. Meslier should have done better. I will add that as a caveat. He got something to it, but not enough. But a great finish from Latte Lath. And everything he touches seems to go in right now. And he's starting to get the attention of the wider championship world. And it's a bit of a worry because I don't want other teams coming in for him, but a lot of people are starting to suggest that a full season with Lath fit, he gets 20 plus goals, and I think that's a guarantee. I honestly do. He's on 15 now, I believe. It might be 14 in the league, 16 in all comps, but his goals to game ratio and his goals per minute ratio aren't that far behind Chuba Akpom's, which is saying something. And I think we discussed this on the Boro Breakdown podcast last week. Had Lath played every game this season, I think before the Leeds game at least, he would have been on course for 26 goals, which is incredible. For a debut season, in a brand new league, everything's new, language, everything, you name it. He has been amazing. He really has come into his own, and I just love watching him. You know, he's chaotic, he never stops running, he's great at pressing, he's pretty good at holding the ball up. I think he's underrated aerially as well. He's such a good runner in behind, he's a nuisance for centre-backs. He's starting to show that he's got decent finishing ability, and he's starting to look quite composed too. He's showing that he is developing into an all-round striker that can do everything. And I think if Boro keep providing him the chances as we've been doing all season, yeah, I can't wait for next season. I can't wait to see what Lath does next season. We could have one hell of a striker on our hands, and this call that we've had that the priority next season has to be to sign a striker. I still think we need depth there, but this man has, I think, earned the number 9 shirt. He's earned the right to be the guy up front next season, and I'm so excited to see what he does. It was such a good goal from Latte Lath. But unfortunately, our time being level didn't last long either, and this is where the frustration sets in. Because on 39 minutes, Leeds then go 3-2 up. 5 goals in 40 minutes. And I'll be honest, this was a beautiful move from Leeds. All the way up until the final pass. I can't sort of compliment how good this football was. In transition, they're such a good side. But when the ball is turned inside by Somerville, yeah, arguably Dijksteel again. You could say fell asleep, ball watching, whatever, but Carrick made this point post-match, and he's absolutely right. Our defence is told to hold their line, and Dijksteel, Clark and Thomas held their line perfectly. Nonto was a yard off, if not more. In fact, all of the Leeds players were offside. I think there was 3 of them. I don't know if Rutter was the other one, but Bamford and Nonto were all offside. The ball was slipped through, he finishes it, and I can't believe the linesman has not given offside. I mean, it is so blatant. I'm not even going to try and think of the excuse that Bamford was in his way. Maybe that was in his vision. I don't care. It's a shocking decision from the linesman. And in the grander scheme of things, obviously, in the automatic promotion race, which is so tight, this goal could play such a part. You know, this edged the game in Leeds' favour, gave them the lead going into half-time, and it was offside. It's as simple as. It's a terrible, terrible call from the linesman, and yeah, I don't really have much more to say other than we were very, very hard done by in this moment because, you know, we kept our line really well. The defence did everything Carrick asked of them, and they were undone by a linesman who made it a shocking error. So yeah, frustrating, really, really frustrating. And Leeds go into half time in front 3-2. Shouldn't have been. We should have gone in 2-2, and then the second half is completely different. But they go in with something to hold on to, and in the second half, they changed their approach, and I think that's in respect to the problems Boro were causing them, if I'm honest, because Farkas said this after the game. He didn't want the game to be as chaotic as it was. He wanted Leeds to have a bit more control, and they sat back completely in the second half. They completely changed their approach, Leeds. They sat back, they tried to defend, they tried to be structured, and in all honesty, they did not have a sniff for the first 15 minutes. I think Boro, I don't think Leeds touched the ball until the 48th, 49th, 50th minute from kickoff. Boro just kept the ball and kept them under pressure, kept bombarding them with crosses. It was all Boro. And frustratingly, it was from one counter-attack on the 61st minute. The first time Leeds had been in Boro's final third, all half, and we were 15 or so minutes in at this point, and they get the goal. And I think that's I guess, credit to just how good they are in transition and how clinical they are up front, how deadly they are up front, and I guess that just shows the difference in quality from where we're at and where they're at. And I think that's what I'll say about this. You know, arguably, their first goal come from a terrible error from Dijksteel. Their second goal, Dieng didn't cover himself in glory. The third goal was offside. This was, I think, their only goal that was of real quality where you just sit back and go, that's fantastic. It was such good play from one side to the other from Leeds, and Somerville cut inside, and it's just a great finish. You can't say any more than that. Dieng rooted to the spot. It's the finish of a Premier League player. It was a move from a fantastic team, a fantastic counter-attacking team in transition. The annoying thing isn't the goal, it's what it meant in the grand scheme of things, because really, that should have been Leeds going 3-2 up, not 4-2 up. And that's the annoying thing. Boro should not have been 2 goals behind at this point. We should have been behind, arguably, but only by 1 goal at the very most. But it is what it is, and then it was a case of them trying to hold on to it. And I thought Leeds would get nervy. I think given everything that's at stake, they're obviously going to get nervy, and Boro were going to, come back into the game and pile them under pressure. And I always fancied us to get another goal, and it was a fantastic goal. The 7th went in on 87th minute, and Latte Lath again with another ridiculous finish. Alex Gilbert played the ball over the top, and for Lath to have this level of awareness, to be in behind, to know where the keeper is, and to then connect with the header as well as he did, and loop the keeper from there, is such an underrated header. It's fantastic from Lath once again. He got his second, and it was game on again. For the last 15 minutes, the Leeds fans were giving it, chanting all these things, giving it to the Boro fans, and then as soon as our third went in, it was like someone had pressed the mute button. They absolutely shit themselves, and it was like panic mode. It was brilliant, and suddenly we were throwing everything at them. It was like attack after attack, wave after wave, cross after cross. The atmosphere was so good, and I just wish we'd have gotten that equaliser, because honestly, it could have been up there with moment of the season. I think it would have been incredible if Boro had gotten their, in my opinion, deserved equaliser, but it didn't come, unfortunately, and this was another real cause for frustration, and this really sent Michael Carrick over the edge after the final whistle, because 5 minutes were added on, and there was at least 2 minutes where the ball wasn't even in play due to Leeds time wasting, which, you expect all teams would do the same in their position, of course, but you'd expect the referee to add that time on at the end. The time the ball's been out of play, the time that they've had time wasting with players on the ground, whatever it may be. But as soon as the clock ticked 95 minutes, he blew the whistle. And the 5 minutes that were meant to be added on were not added on. The ball was maybe in play for 3 of them minutes, and Carrick was absolutely furious after the game. He waited for the ref, he chased him down the tunnel. I've never seen Carrick that annoyed before, but it was just another really frustrating thing from the refs. I mean, were Boro going to score in the final 2 minutes? Who knows? But we had the right to still have them final 2 minutes, so I can see his frustration. And as well as the linesman doing what he did in the first half, it was just, a frustrating day with poor officiating, which is just normal in the Championship, unfortunately. But in a game where Boro deserved something, I thought we were amazing. I thought we were so good going forward. It was a fantastic game between two fantastic sides, I think Leeds will count their lucky stars. They come out on the winning side here because it could be the difference come the end of the season. Them 2 points extra might get them promoted, and it's just annoying that we helped them out with a number of their goals with some bad decisions, and the linesman helped them out as well. That's the frustrating thing. As for the Boro team, I mean, I don't know if I'll go through them one by one because we're already 20 minutes into this video, but across the board, I think everyone was amazing. You know, I'm not going to take much notice to the foot mob ratings because at the end of the day, it was a crazy game. Obviously, Dieng's going to be rated quite low because he conceded 4. I think he was only at fault for the second, really. He still made some good saves at times. The only thing I will say is I think Clark and Rav did really, really well. Our big weakness was fullback. I think Thomas and especially Dijksteel struggled massively. You know, sometimes it would be Nonto and Somerville, then they'd swap. Rutter would obviously float around. I think Rutter's one of my favourite players from this season. I think Rutter's amazing. He reminds me of Chuba Akpom, and he caused so many problems as well. But yeah, Thomas and Dijksteel, I think ideally we'd want Engel on the left. Apparently Engel's injured and has been for a while and requires surgery for some issue that he's been carrying throughout the season, so that explains why Thomas has been starting as often as he has. Ideally, you'd probably have Engel starting, or Bangura, who come back in again here. And on the right, you know, in an ideal world, we'd have Tommy Smith there, or we'd have Luke Ayling if he wasn't a Leeds player and wasn't ineligible here. But Dijksteel had a shocker, and I think, yeah, if it was his final game in a Boro shirt at the Riverside, which it probably is, it's such a sad way that this was sort of it for him in a Boro shirt. It really, really was, because he had an absolute shocker. I thought the midfield too did well. I mean, obviously it's a chaotic game, so it's hard to really have any form of control, but I think O'Brien, especially of the two, was really, really good. You know, his ball carrying ability is so strong, and he gets us up the pitch, and he's so good with the ball at his feet. And I really do hope that if the price and the wages and the money is right, Boro try and sign him permanently in the summer, because I just feel like we're going to need bodies in midfield anyway. We don't know if Howson's signing. We don't know if Hackney's going to be here. I'm not convinced in Barlasser in this midfield too. I think we're going to need quite an overhaul in the middle of the park, more than any other area on the pitch. And if we've got the opportunity to sign a player who's used to the system, he's used to Boro as a club, the facilities, won't take any time to bed in, if we can get him for the right price, O'Brien is a no-brainer for me. I still think there's going to be maybe something in it in terms of Forest staying up or not. I think if they get relegated, I think O'Brien would be a perfect player to bring back into that Nottingham Forest side. So if they stay up, I think Boro will definitely have a chance to sign him. But again, I must stress, the fee's got to be right, the wages have got to be right. But if we can do a deal that we're happy with, I'd bring him back. Undoubtedly, he's really come into his own in the last couple of weeks. I thought the attacking four were really good as well. I think Silvera, to be fair, I think had one of his better games. You know, I still think there were times where, you know, maybe he struggled a little bit in terms of losing the ball at times and cutting it on the right from the left-hand side onto his right. I still would much rather see him as an out-and-out winger on the right, but when we've not got McGree, Greenwood was ineligible, Sammy's the only option on the left, so it was a bit of we didn't have a choice on the left-hand side. But I think when the game's as open as it is, they're attacking and there's space all over the pitch, that suits Silvera a little bit more. I think when we've got a team at the Riverside who is sitting back, sitting deep, defending, that's where he might struggle, you know, to beat his man and unlock an opposition. But I think in a game that's as open like this, where both sides are just transitioning and counter-attacking on each other, it suits Silvera a little bit more. So I thought he was better here. But in terms of great games, I thought Azaz was brilliant. I think he benefited from the space out there as well. Did really well for Lath's first goal. The little shimmy and turn that he did was absolutely brilliant. I thought Azaz was fantastic. Isaiah as well, he was a threat down the right-hand side. Gave their fullback a nightmare at times. Got a goal too. I thought Jones was really good. And I don't know what more you can say about Latte Lath. You know, he is just becoming such a good all-around striker. He gives their defenders so much to think about. He's a nightmare in behind. He's a nightmare in the air. He took both his goals exceptionally well and was just outstanding. And again, I cannot comprehend and I cannot say how excited I am to see him lead the line for Boro next season. I assume he'll still be here. He should be, anyway. As for the subs, not much to say, really. Bangura come on and actually thought did well. I thought Bangura was better down the left when he come on 68 minutes. I thought Gilbert as well deserves a shout-out. He'd come on, and to be fair, given the fact he's not played much this season, I thought Gilbert looked quite comfortable out there. I really did. I thought he was great, and he played a ball over the top for last second and has 2 assists now. So that's something to think about, for the minutes that he's had, which hasn't been many. Gilbert's got 2 assists now, and I think, again, he's definitely a player to look forward to, I feel. Barlaser come on, didn't really get much into the game. He almost gave the ball away and led to us conceding a goal, actually, in the second half. And AJ Matthews made his debut, which was great to see on 86 minutes. He is the 997th player to make his debut for Boro. So yeah, a fantastic moment for him, and I'm glad he got some minutes towards the end. As you can see by the momentum, carnage, really. The first half was bonkers, but what I want to, you can see Leeds took their chances when they were on top. That's what top sides do. That's what clinical sides do. But the second half, as you can see, Boro was so dominant in that second half up until their goal. They really did score against the run of play. And as I said, the frustrating thing is that their 4th goal should have been their 3rd goal. It should have been 3-2, not 4-2, and it gave Boro a much bigger mountain to climb than we maybe should have. But yeah, we were so good in that second half. We put them under so much pressure, and I think on another day, you take out that 3rd goal, it should have been a 3-3 game, in my opinion. As you can see from the stats, we dominated possession. They did have the far higher XG, so Boro did outperform their XG massively, but you can see in terms of the chances, they were more clinical than us. 2.47 XG. They had 8 shots, 5 on target. We had 13 and 5 on target. But we equally had some really big chances. They had 4, we had 3. We both missed 1 each. And I was really surprised by the passing stats. Leeds only had 237 passes in this game, which I think just shows how quickly they get from one end of the pitch to the other. They're not a possession side who play it around and they build slowly through the thirds. They are literally bang, bang, bang. They're through the thirds really quick and they're on to you. I think that really shows the strength of Leeds. If you can't stop them on the transition, you're in trouble. So, yeah, I thought that was a really interesting stat. But finishing off then, looking at the league table, obviously nothing really to read into for Boro at this point. The playoffs had gone anywhere, but if anyone did have a mathematical hope, we had to win last night. We didn't, so it's gone now. We're 9 points off with only 6 points to play. We've got Cardiff away at the weekend before Watford at home on the final day. Our season is done, and I think the grand scheme of things is what that's done for the automatic promotion race, because I think Leicester and Ipswich will especially have looked at that Gnonto goal last night and felt very aggrieved by the referee and the linesman. But what it does do is it puts Leeds back into the top 2. Had they not won that game and had we drew 3-3, which should have been the result in my eyes, they would have still been 3rd, a point behind Ipswich, and they'd have played a game more. So that's how important that refereeing error might end up being. So we'll see how that transpires in regards to the rest of the championship season. But in terms of Boro, it is just a case of us having 2 games left. Let's just continue to finish on a high. We were 9 unbeaten before last night. In my eyes, we should still be 10 unbeaten, and I fancy us to do hopefully well down at Cardiff. They did beat Southampton recently though, which is something worth noting, and hopefully we get a good result against Watford on the final day. But I'm seeing so many positives from Boro at this moment in time. I think we're performing really, really well. Individuals are coming into form, and it's all just a case of us building on this. Now, this is the platform we have to build on for next season. I've said this a number of times, but I think without the over-reliance on loans this year, we don't need an overhaul. We don't need 8, 9, 10 players this time. I think we just need to sprinkle the squad with 3 or 4 quality players. Spend a bit more on fewer players, but they're of more quality. And I think if you can add that extra bit of quality in the areas that it matters, I'd say centre mid, either wing, maybe another striker, I think Boro will be in such a good position going into next season, and so many of the players who have come into form this season will still be here, I hope, and we can just build on what this season has been, which has been an up and down inconsistent season. I think we've let ourselves down against the sides near the bottom. We've let ourselves down with having such a bad start. I think you take them out, we would have been definitely in the playoff picture undoubtedly. So for me, the sky is only... So for me, the only way is up for Boro. You know, the sky's the limit for this side, and we can only improve, I hope, if we can get the recruitment right in the summer. So I am very excited for next season, I will say that. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. A big thank you for watching. It's been a slightly longer one, this, because it was such a bonkers game. But yeah, I'll be back during the week. I have got another video coming out predicting the relegation battle in the Championship. And of course, we've got the Cardiff game to come next weekend. I'll see what the content I can bring you guys between then and the end of the season, because I am away for the final weekend. So yeah, the Project Boro for the final game will be a few days later than usual, and then of course we will be reviewing the season after that and looking ahead to the summer. But until then, if you've enjoyed this video, do it like on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe for much more and hit the bell too so you never miss a video here on the channel. Leave me a comment below with your thoughts, whether you're a Boro fan, Leeds fan or a neutral, an Ipswich or a Leicester fan. It would be intriguing to hear what you guys think in terms of the automatic promotion race as well. And if you're listening on the podcast providers, as always, do give me a like, a rating and a follow over there. That would be much appreciated. But until next time, guys, a big thank you for watching. Do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.